A very good morning to you, my dear brothers and sisters. What an immense joy to greet you on this last day of the month of June, Tuesday, the 30th. Welcome, as every morning, to this little corner of faith where we gather to spend a moment with God before beginning the day. Get comfortable, take a deep breath, set the rush aside, because today Jesus is going to give us one of the most striking and most consoling scenes in all the Gospel: the storm on the sea. A boat about to sink, disciples scared to death, and Jesus asleep. And from his mouth will come a question he asks you today, directly in the middle of what you are going through. Why are you afraid, O you of little faith? My friends, today we are going to discover that, however great your storm, Jesus is in your boat, and he can calm it. And before we begin, my friends, a quick but very important thing. If this Mass does you good, if these reflections feed your soul each morning, please do me a big favor. Subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, turn on the notification bell so you get the alert every day, and tell me in the comments, where are you watching the Mass from today? And tell me one more thing in the comments, my friends, which goes very well with the Gospel today. What is the storm you are going through right now? Write it, even just with one word, so we can pray today for one another in this Mass. Because we are a family, and together we hold each other up. And share this video with someone who is going through a storm today and needs to hear that Jesus is with them. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Let me send out a few greetings before we begin. A big hug to the Murphy family in New York, to Mrs. Mary in Chicago, to Mr. James in Houston, and a special greeting to our brothers and sisters around the world who pray with us every morning, in Manila, in Lagos, in London, in Dublin, in Sydney. And we continue to pray for our sick, Mrs. Catherine, Mrs. Teresa, Mrs. Helen, Mrs. Ann, and for each one of you who writes asking for prayer, especially for those who today are in the middle of a storm. We carry you all in our hearts and to the altar. And my friends, since today is the last day of June, let me thank you from the heart for this month. We have walked together each morning, day after day, listening to the Word of God, praying for one another. Let us give thanks to God for all the good He gave us this month, and let us place in His hands, too, all that was difficult, all the storms we lived through in June. And let us begin the month of July with hearts full of trust, knowing that, come what may, Jesus is in our boat. How beautiful to end the month precisely with this Gospel, which leaves us this certainty: we are not alone. He is with us. Well then, my friends, let us go to today's Gospel. It is short, but it is one of those that stay engraved on the heart. Listen carefully, imagining the scene. As Jesus got into a boat, his disciples followed him. Suddenly a violent storm came up on the sea, so that the boat was being swamped by waves, but he was asleep. They came and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us! We are perishing!" He said to them, "Why are you terrified, O you of little faith?" Then he got up, rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was great calm. The men were amazed and said, "What sort of man is this, whom even the winds and the sea obey?" The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. My friends, what a striking scene. Picture it well. The Sea of Galilee, which is a large lake, was famous for its sudden storms. From one moment to the next, without warning, a hurricane wind would rise, and the waves would become gigantic. And there are the disciples, several of them expert fishermen, men hardened by that sea, who knew the danger. And even so, they are terrified. That tells us the storm was truly terrible. If even experienced fishermen are afraid, it is because things are very bad. The boat sinks among the waves, the water comes in, all seems lost. And in the middle of that chaos, what does Jesus do? He is asleep, peacefully sleeping in the stern of the boat. And notice, my friends, what a beautiful and profound detail. Jesus was sleeping. Why was Jesus sleeping in the middle of the storm? For two precious reasons. First, because he was truly man, and he was tired, exhausted from so much preaching, so much healing, so much giving of himself to the crowds. Jesus knows tiredness, my friends, like you and like me. And second, because he slept with the absolute peace of one who knows he is in the hands of the Father. Jesus was not afraid of the storm because he trusted totally in God. His peaceful sleep in the middle of the waves is the image of perfect trust. And that is exactly what he wants to teach us, to sleep in peace in the middle of our storms, resting in God, trusting that the Father sustains us. My friends, isn't this the exact image of what we so often feel in our lives? We are sailing along, more or less calm, and suddenly, without warning, the storm rises. An illness that comes all at once, an economic crisis that chokes us, a problem in the family that breaks our heart, a betrayal, a loss, a fear that takes our sleep away. And suddenly we feel that the boat of our life is sinking, that the waves are covering us, that we are going to perish. And worst of all, we feel that God is asleep, that He does nothing, that He does not hear us, that He has forgotten us. Lord, where are you? Don't you see that I am sinking? Why do you do nothing? How many times have we felt that, my friends? Well, notice something very important, my friends, which is the first great teaching of today. Even though he seemed to be asleep, Jesus was there. He was in the boat. He had not gotten out. He had not abandoned the disciples. He had not gone elsewhere. He was there, with them, in the same boat, going through the same storm. And that, my friends, is the first thing we must engrave on our hearts. In your storm, however dark it is, Jesus is in your boat. Even if you feel that He sleeps, even if you feel that He does nothing, even if you do not see Him act, He is there, with you. He has never left you alone. The silence of God is not the absence of God. Sometimes it seems that God is silent, that God sleeps, but He is there, always there, in the same boat as you. And look at what the disciples do, my friends, because here is the key. In the middle of the terror, they do the one thing they had to do. They go to Jesus. They wake Him. They cry out to Him, "Lord, save us! We are perishing!" And this is very important, my friends, because they, in the middle of fear, did not throw themselves into the water in despair, did not stay paralyzed, did not completely lose their heads. They turned to Jesus. They cried out to Jesus. And that is exactly the prayer we must learn today. Lord, save me. I am sinking. It is a short prayer, simple, almost a cry. but it is one of the most powerful prayers there are. When you are in your storm, my brother, do not stay alone churning over your anguish. Cry out to Jesus. Wake him with your prayer. Say to him, "Lord, save me. I am sinking. On my own, I cannot." That prayer he always hears. And then, my friends, comes the question of Jesus, the one he asks you today. Why are you afraid, O you of little faith? Notice, my friends, that Jesus does not scold them for waking him. He does not get angry that they turned to him. What he points out is something else, that, having him in the boat, they still had so much fear, as if to say, "Do you not realize that I am here with you? What are you afraid of if I am in your boat?" My friends, this is the great lesson. Fear and faith cannot occupy the same place in the heart. Where faith grows, fear shrinks. Where fear grows, faith shrinks. That is why Jesus calls them of little faith. Not because they believed nothing, but because in the moment of the test, they let fear become greater than their trust in him. And mind you, my friends, this is not a harsh reproach. It is an invitation full of tenderness. Jesus does not tell us how bad you are for being afraid. He tells us with tenderness, "Trust me more. Do not be so afraid. Do you not see that I am with you?" To be afraid is human, my friends. We all feel it. Even the saints felt it. What Jesus asks of us is not that we never feel fear, but that in the middle of fear, we keep trusting in him, that we do not let fear win, that we hold on to his hand even while trembling. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is trusting in God in spite of fear. And let me tell you something about fear, my friends, because it is one of the things that most robs us of peace in this life. Fear, when we let it grow, paralyzes us, takes away our sleep, makes even the body sick, makes us see everything black. Fear exaggerates problems, makes them seem bigger than they are. Fear makes us forget all the times God helped us before. How many storms have you already gone through in your life, my brother, that at the time seemed the end of the world? And look, you are here. You got through them. God brought you out. Remember that when the next storm comes. God, who helped you so many times, will not abandon you now. The one who brought you out of past storms will bring you out of this one too. That is why do not give fear so much power. Give more power to faith, to trust, to the memory of all the good God has already done with you. And then, my friends, comes the most striking part. Jesus gets up in the middle of the storm and gives an order to the wind and the sea. Like one who speaks to a fierce dog and calms it, "Be quiet." And the Gospel says that there was great calm. Suddenly the wind stops, the waves settle, the sea becomes like a mirror. What a powerful scene, my friends. The same sea that a second before was going to swallow the boat is now completely calm, obeying the voice of Jesus. Because Jesus is the Lord of all, my friends, even of the forces of nature. The one who created the sea and the wind can calm them with a single word. And here is, my friends, the heart of the whole gospel today. If Jesus could calm that storm on the sea, He can also calm the storm you are living, the storm of your illness, the storm of your money problems, the storm of your family, the storm of your anguished heart. Jesus has power over them all. Nothing resists him. That is why, in the middle of your storm, do not look only at the waves. Look at Jesus. Do not stay counting the problems. Place them in his hands. He can calm your storm. And notice a precious detail, my friends. Why did the disciples have so much fear? Because they were looking at the waves, looking at the wind, looking at the water coming into the boat. They had their eyes fixed on the danger. And as long as we look only at the danger, fear grows and grows. But the moment they woke Jesus, the moment they set their eyes on him, everything changed. My friends, there is the secret. Where do you have your eyes set? If all day you are looking at your problems, churning over your anguish, going over again and again what frightens you, fear will sink you. But if you set your eyes on Jesus, if you learn to look at him in the middle of the storm, you will find a peace that the world cannot give. That apostle, St. Peter, learned it in his own flesh. When he walked on the water and looked at Jesus, he did not sink. But the moment he looked at the waves and the wind, he began to sink. The lesson is the same, my friends. Look at Jesus, not at the waves. But let me tell you something important, my friends, so that we do not stay with a wrong idea. Sometimes Jesus calms the storm on the outside. He solves the problem, heals the illness, sorts out the situation. But other times he does not calm the storm on the outside, but the one on the inside. Sometimes the storm continues, the illness continues. The problem does not get solved right away. But Jesus gives us an inner peace, a calm in the heart, a strength to keep rowing without despairing. And that, my friends, is sometimes an even greater miracle. Not that the storm ends, but that you have peace in the middle of it. That you can say, like St. Paul, I can do all things in him who strengthens me. That peace in the middle of the storm is one of the most beautiful gifts God can give us. And the gospel ends with a question of the disciples, my friends, which is beautiful. What sort of man is this, whom even the winds and the sea obey? Notice how beautiful. The storm led them to know Jesus better. Before the storm, they did not really know who he was. After the storm, they discovered his power, his greatness, his divinity. And this, my friends, happens to us too. Many times it is precisely in the storms of life that we most come to know God, that we most experience his help, that our faith grows the most. Storms, even though they hurt, can be the occasion of a deeper encounter with the Lord. What seemed only a threat becomes a place where we discover who Jesus really is. So, my friends, what do we take home today from this gospel? 3 little things for the heart. First, in your storm, Jesus is in your boat. Even if it seems that he sleeps, even if you feel that he does nothing, he is with you. You are never alone in your suffering. The silence of God is not his absence. Repeat this to yourself when the storm comes. I am not alone. Jesus is in my boat. Second, in the middle of fear, cry out to Jesus. Make your own that prayer of the disciples. Lord, Save me, I am sinking. It is short but very powerful. Do not carry your storm alone. Place it in His hands. And pray too with confidence, knowing that the one who sleeps in your boat is the same who commands the wind and the sea. And third, trust in His power. If Jesus calmed that raging sea, He can calm your storm, on the outside or on the inside. Do not look only at the waves. Look at Jesus. Change fear into trust. And remember, many times it is precisely in the storms that we most discover who God is for us. Let us ask for all this with all our heart in this Holy Mass. Well then, my friends, stay with us for the Holy Mass of this Tuesday, June 30th, the last day of the month. We offer it for all of you and your families, for the Murphy family in New York, for Mrs. Mary in Chicago, for Mr. James in Houston, for all our sick, and in a very special way today, for all who are going through a storm, the sick, those who have money problems, those who suffer in their family, those who live anguished or in fear. May Jesus stand up in their boat and give them calm, on the outside or on the inside. And today's task, my friends, is beautiful. Today you will do two things. First, take a moment in silence and give your storm a name. Identify what gives you the most fear or anguish right now, and hand it over to Jesus with this simple prayer. Lord, this is my storm. I hand it to you. Save me. On my own I cannot. I trust in you. And leave it in His hands truly. Let go of it. Do not take it back every moment. Once you have handed it to God, leave it with Him. And second, today, look for someone who is going through a storm, someone sick, someone sad, someone anguished, and be for that person a word of calm, of encouragement, of hope. A call, a message, an embrace. Be yourself today a little of that peace that Jesus gives, because sometimes God calms someone's storm precisely through us. And the usual reminder, my friends, many fake pages have appeared using my face and my name to deceive people, asking for money, promising so-called miracles in exchange for money. It is all false. We never ask you for money for a prayer. The official channel is Light of Faith with Father David. You can watch us on YouTube and on Facebook every morning. Please make sure it is the real one. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being with me each morning throughout this whole month of June. Knowing that so many families start the day with this Mass gives me strength to continue this humble apostolate. Don't forget, subscribe, give a like, turn on the bell, comment what your storm is so we can pray for one another, and share the video with someone who needs calm today. May the Sacred Heart of Jesus stand up in your boat and calm your storm. Let us stay together for the Holy Mass. Have a wonderful Tuesday, June 30th, and a happy end of the month. Don't forget today's line. However great your storm, Jesus is in your boat, and He can calm it. Do not be afraid. Have faith. May God bless you all abundantly, today and always.